Can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the idea for this film?
I sure can. The idea for POM 100%'s The Greatest Movie Ever Sold came from me watching television. I was a huge fan of the first season of Heroes, and the second season came along and it kind of started to lose its compass a little bit, and part of what was happening is there was this product placement that started to make its way in the show. In one episode, Hayden Panettiere, the cheerleader, comes out of school. She's really sad and distraught, and her dad says, "Oh honey, your mom and I, we're really proud of you. I got a surprise." And he reaches in his pocket, and as he does, the camera cuts to the front of the car, and the camera dollies past, the Nissan logo goes through the frame, cuts back to him standing in front of her, holding the keys, rack focus to her face as she goes, "Oh, the Rogue? The Nissan Rogue? Oh my God, Dad, it's the Rogue! I can't believe it, you're giving me the Rogue!" And I was just like, I was dumbfounded. I was like, that really just happened. I literally just watched a commercial in the middle of this movie, in the middle of the TV show. Later on in the show, she's leaving a party and she's like, "Come on guys, let's get out of here, to the Rogue!" And I was like, come on! I threw my remote across the room. The next day I get to work, and my producing partner Jeremy, who had seen the whole thing, he and I just start talking about that episode, and then we start talking about all this terrible product placement we'd seen in movies and TV shows over the years, and we said, wow, what if we made a film that was all about product placement and advertising that's actually paid for by brands? And then it was like the light went off, and that was the moment, and literally for the next 2 hours all we did was talk about the idea.
That's awesome. So with product placement in film, do you think it usually pulls the audience out of it if it's done poorly? How poorly does it have to be done to really pour someone out of it, I wonder? I mean, I think sometimes product placement can be done very, very badly in a scene. Sometimes you'll see it right in a shot. That's usually a problem. That's usually really bad product placement. And what I also hate is when somebody's holding like a can that says beer. Somebody's holding like that white can that's just like, cola. Like, and I've seen like a lot of refrigerators open and all the labels are turned
around backwards. Just turn sideways.
That might be a PBR, it may not be.
It may not be, yeah. It's some sort of red, white, and blue beer. I'm a realist. Like, we live in a world where people drink beer. They drink Budweiser. They wear Levi's. They drive Camaros. And so I think that seeing that in the film or in a TV show creates a real world reality. You can't have fake vehicles and fake cars. You can't create a whole line of clothing. Just like every time I see somebody dial 555 in a movie, it drives me crazy. Come on, Hollywood, buy like 5 phone numbers that people can use in a film. It's the easiest thing in the whole planet. I feel like there's a way to make things real without turning it into a commercial. Where somebody pulls up in a car and they get out and they're like, "Wow, we made great time. And how about the handling of that new Prius?" That stuff drives me crazy. And I feel like that the bigger thing that has to happen, from my point of view, is you got to get all these people, any of these people from agencies, any of these people from companies, any of these brand managers out of the writer's room. You can't let these people control creative. Let the creative people be creative. Give them your money, give them your product, and let them do it. This film works, from my point of view, because the brands didn't have final say. They didn't have final cut. They didn't have final control. They didn't get to review frame by frame. Wow, was he holding it correctly? Was he facing the camera with the label? None of that happened. It was just they gave up. They gave up this this preciousness of this identity, and that's why it succeeds.
Did you look into any of the congressional studies in product placement? Because I know Phil Rosenthal, the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond, spoke to Congress about product placement and scripts.
Right.
So
well, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that are speaking out about it. That think it's that they don't want these things written into stories. John Wells, is a real vocal proponent of it. And he's the head of the Writers Guild, talking about how we shouldn't let these people start to dictate storylines. Like, it really changes the creative process when you suddenly start creating 30-minute commercials in a sitcom, or hour-long commercials in dramas. It's a problem.
So one of the most, I guess, poignant topics in your film is education and sponsorship.
Yeah.
And logos appearing around the school. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that probably one of the most eye-opening scenes in the film is where we start talking about school districts that are getting their budgets cut, that are losing money, that are now having to sell advertising and sponsorships to kind of try and bridge whatever budget gap they can, and they're not making a ton of money from it. I mean, it's such small amounts of film, or much small amounts.
I was shocked to hear it was like $25,000.
$5,000. This school was getting like $5 grand, buy uniforms or the things they need for the athletic program. It's not a lot of money. So they
put up a Kickstarter and raise some money from.
I know. So the advertisers are making out like bandits because they're getting this focus group of kids and their attention for a penny, pennies over the course of a year. And so I think there's a real question there about values and a real question about what do we value. The woman who sold the sponsorships in Broward County, Florida. I asked her why people were upset about what's happening in the school district, and she said because school's meant to be sacred. School is this place where kids are supposed to be able to come and to learn and to formulate their own ideas of the world, their own outlook, free from kind of outside influence, corporate influence, sponsor influence, and now that's changing. And what I think the film shows you really eloquently is that we live in a place and we live in a time where nothing is sacred, everything is for sale. We're moving towards a time where everything is being brought to us by a sponsor. Whether you go to a concert, whether you go to a subway station, in New York they just sold a subway station to Barclays Bank. I went and saw the Virgin Mobile Lady Gaga concert. I went and saw the Mets play at Citi Field. They just floated a bill in New York City through the city council where they're talking about selling off the naming rights to parks and playgrounds.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
It's insane. So the question is, where do you draw the line? Where does it stop?
So I have an interesting background a little bit, and the film was really I was really interested in seeing it, and I missed it at Sundance. I was upset, but I was one of the first corporately sponsored college students in America. I had a corporation pay for my college tuition, and in return I was a spokesperson for them. I was featured in a documentary film called The Corporation, which ended up winning Sundance in 2004. You actually saw the film at the Philadelphia Film Festival.
I did, and I saw it at Sundance when it was there.
And I was at both of the screenings when you were there. So I had First USA, a credit card company, pay for my college tuition, and in return I went on the Today Show and wore a logo. I have one of my original shirts here.
Look at this.
With First USA.
Wow.
Right on.
So did you have to wear this every day at college?
So when we originally came up with the idea, we thought we were going to be like a NASCAR driver and wear a logo, do what you're doing, and put logos all over ourselves and just pay off for college that way. But when we launched it into the media, the first 9 months of our search, we were the publicity was so large. We were in everything from People magazine to the Today Show on the day of our high school graduation, announcing that we were being sponsored by First USA. So instead of just wearing logos, we ended up being a spokesperson for financial responsibility. So we went on the Today Show announcing that, talking about credit cards and how to be smart with them and just how it's important. So it took an idea like this and brought a message to our peers. And this is actually the shirt we wore in People magazine.
That's fantastic.
Your ad here.
That's genius. That's amazing. No, I remember this now. That's amazing that that was you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah, so it was just interesting.
Did you hear about the guy who just put up? They said, "Name me Snickers." Have you been to this website yet?
Yeah, I know that guy.
Oh, you know that guy?
Yeah, he's my friend Tim.
That's fantastic.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, well, I was sent this link, and there's a guy online who, it says I think the website is Name Me Snickers, and so he said to Mars Candy Bar Company that, hey Mars, I'll name my kid Snickers if you pay for his entire education, of which I doubt Mars has responded because they're kind of this very stealth organization. But I thought that was fantastic.
Maybe we should give him a call and see.
Yeah, that's where we're headed. But that's where we're going. It's like, great, I'm going to name my kid Snickers.
He wants to name the kid Snickers in return for covering the college tuition and health care growing up, just because costs are getting so huge. Yeah. So it's just so funny.
Well, there's got to be someone else. You see, I don't think Snickers will ever go for it. Yeah. But I'm sure you could probably get some other brand that would latch onto that. Yeah. Yeah. Like why not call a kid Capital One Visa? Yeah. Yeah. This is my son, Capital One Visa Jones.
Yeah. How do you shorten that? Cap? Hey, Cap.
Cap One.
Yeah, Cap One.
He's Cap One. It sounds like something out of Star Trek already. So how did we get there? How did people get those weird names in Star Trek? Because they started off being named after brands. Maybe that's what it was.
So with our sponsorship, it didn't end up working out the way we kind of thought it was. First USA ended up paying our tuition late. We almost got kicked out of school. I went to Pepperdine, and my friend went to USC. Wow. So we kind of saw the inner workings of corporations, how most 18-year-old kids, when they're going off to college, are not getting flown to meet with Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Bank One at the time, and meeting all these high influential people. So have you?
So why were they late paying your tuition? Like, what happened?
I'm sure you're waiting for money from some of these companies.
Yeah, well, not the first money. The first money's all paid.
Yeah, but
now it's all the benchmark money. So
yeah, it just takes time to process everything, and they got a certain budget, and they ended up spending a lot of it by going surfing out in LA, and just when we went on TV shows, they were going surfing, and just like little things that didn't start to add up. Right. So we ended up up ending our sponsorship after the first year, and I ended up getting into documentary film. So that's kind of why I am.
So that was your choice. Your choice was to end the sponsorship.
Yeah, they owed us some more money for all of our appearances we did, because we kind of worked in in our contract that we got some extra money when we went over a certain amount, and
right.
It was pretty exciting. So
wow, yeah, that's amazing.
Cool, yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's you.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought this was going to be a fun interview. So
yeah,
it's cool. Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Cool.